Ladies and gentlemen, one of the most powerful videos you're ever going to watch on trading. We're going to get straight into it. I want you to actually do the work. A lot of people in this business tell you what to do. That's not how real trading works. When I was working in a variety of institutions, the best people were always the same. Yeah, we were shown things, but we were also encouraged to think for ourselves. And that's what I want you to do. And that's why I've got straight into it. In this video, I want you to really think for yourself, because I think you're going to come to the conclusion yourself, right? It's really important you don't just do what someone tells you to do, because that's completely absurd, but people seem to do it fairly easily. Actually come to the conclusion yourself and see how possibly what you're currently doing doesn't make much sense. You know, what you probably used to seeing in trading, you're on this side of the chart using maybe candlesticks, and you've got a lot of questions in your mind about what on earth is going on. You know, I'd encourage you to come over to this side and really put a smile on that face in terms of improving your understanding, a tick in the box in terms of at least knowing what's going on. So again, I'm encouraging you to actually answer the question for yourself. What do you see here compared to what you see here? Okay, big difference, and we will cover it together, don't worry, but let's actually do this together. Get the snipping tool, which is what I'm going to do. Let me just clean this area up ever so slightly. Okay, and we're going to snip that area. Okay, and I'm just going to minimize this. Just bear with me. Okay, there you go. That's that same area, right? This area here. Okay, and I want you, again, like I said, start thinking like a professional trader. I don't mean that in a patronizing way. I mean it in a very encouraging way, trying to open your mind a little bit. So compare this to this. What's actually going on, right? Let's look at it together. This is a whole bunch of selling coming in and zero buying. If we sum that up, we would get zero. My mental arithmetic is not so good, but you know, if we sum this up, maybe let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 minus maybe 200, 300. So say somewhere between 500 and 600. Let's just say 550. Contracts sold and zero contracts bought. So clearly a lot of selling. The point is, as we head down, very different to maybe what we see at the bottom. Now, obviously a lot of people, when they're trading this style, using things like candlestick shapes, they place a lot of emphasis on these sort of areas near the bottom. Can you see actually the important sensitive areas here? This is where we've got the bulk of sellers. Do you see? In this region. Impossible to tell when you're on here. That's why I'm saying, you tell me, right? Based on what you see in front of you, what makes sense to you in terms of where the sensitive areas would be. Clearly it's going to be here. You can see for yourself, right? In terms of buying and selling. So you need to firstly get access to this information, which I've mentioned many times how you can do that. But once you do, you can start to do this analysis for yourself, and that's where people like myself, and obviously there's many professional traders in the world who've gone through banks and institutions and training programs and gone on to be very successful. But the one common trait I saw all of them have is they would really see this and come to the conclusion for themselves. And I'd encourage you to do that. You know, you don't need to take my word for it. Come to the conclusion for yourself that this is where the bulk of selling is taking place, so that when the market goes above this sort of region, that's what really signifies whether the market is going to continue going up. Obviously, if it fails and comes back down, you're going to want to get out, right? Depending on the context of the trade, right? So we can look at that together. I actually did enter the market here. I'm just going to hit play. So you can see it's my live account here, as always. You'll see the market head up. I'm going to fast forward through this very quickly because we did cover quite a lot there. I really just wanted to make that basic point so you can see it for yourself. But as we start to press this area, you're going to see me get into the market. There you go. Okay. So really expecting this. Do you remember we just talked about this area here? We just circled it, didn't we? A lot of these sellers, as we start to get above, are obviously going to get nervous, right? Now, the sensitivity of their exit is going to vary, right? Some people will exit, you know, very quickly. Some people will want to wait. So really, I do want the market to push up quite a bit. I've got in quite early. As you're going to see, I do exit the trade for a slight loss. And it's important I obviously show wins and losses. It's not always, but I want to show you what kind of helped me to exit very quickly. Do you see we kind of got out of that region that I'd mentioned above? Right, we didn't really break up above this region, and as soon as we started coming back down the area that I've marked here, I exited the trade, right? And the thing is, I applied this principle again. It's not some sort of magical rule when A plus B happens, that sort of thing. It's really applying logic and looking for where some of these clear areas of kind of concentrated sellers or buyers are. So we see all these supply and demand zones, and whilst the principle of it is good, I think the actual execution of it is extremely poor, because you don't obviously look at where the concentrations are. You can't see it here. You're guessing when you try and say, well, it's here at the bottom or here, or see a lot of people doing that. Okay, so I did apply the same theory all the way down, and actually got in and out a few times, as you'll see, which I'm going to fast forward now, and did actually end up turning the day around, but don't really want to go through that because we'll be here for hours. But point is, I just wanted to point out this one principle, just take this forward to its conclusion. There you go, and then that was the last kind of exit of the day. The point is, I just wanted to encourage you to really see this for yourself, all right? Put the question to you rather than me kind of saying to you, hey, do A plus B and that's how you'll be successful. That's not how most people are successful. This video is very different and actually quite basic, and just really encouraging you to think for yourself. Don't even take my word for it, whatever I'm saying or anyone else is saying. Just look at that and then look at that, and you actually kind of see for yourself the difference. And almost that voice in your head should be saying to yourself, rather than me telling you, oh, okay, yeah, I can see how important it is that I see this information, because the information in here shows me that this price point at this point in time, right? So that's what we've got, price against time and then volume. This really signifies that this price point at this point in time is very different to maybe this price point, to this price point at this point in time, to this price point. Okay, this is really telling me something. Okay, makes sense to me. I need to investigate this information further, right? So you come to that conclusion yourself. And as I said, as a professional trader myself, who was very lucky to work in multiple institutions, gone through some of the best training programs in the world, it really wasn't about being told what to do. It was about being given this information, and then I myself, where I had a lot of head scratching, just looking at candlestick charts, not necessarily a smiley face, more like a sad face, really got over to this side and started to really see a lot more that, okay, this is possible if I have access to correct information and I'm willing to investigate it further. Maybe there's something here. Maybe I can actually make logic out of the chaos. All right, so I'd encourage you to do the same. Hopefully that was useful. Different type of video. As you can tell, I had a long trading week with the kind of disheveled look. Didn't really want to do a polished video, but I think you appreciate these are much more educational videos. I will be back shortly with a more polished video, have a shave, show my best face and so on and so forth. But I really wanted to kind of open your eyes a little bit and get straight to the point. Just finally, I'll be doing a fundamental video very shortly. You saw the last one where I talked about the equity market and the markets in general. Unlikely to make a lower low and probably now going to start moving up. And what are we seeing this year? Exactly that. All right, so I will be back to talk a little bit more about the fundamentals and obviously highlight the fact that everything I said in my last video, even though it was quite a contrarian view, ended up being correct. So we're really starting to see the equity market rally now. You can see that, and I suspect that will continue. So be back to talk about that. Have a great week.